Well. Deja vu. Here we are again having conversations with Mike McCarthy going into the 5th game of the season. And the conversation with Mike McCarthy, a lot of people may not realize it, but this is the same conversation that was swirling around Mike McCarthy last year around this time. What is going on with the offense? Why is it so generic? Where's the motion? Where are the big plays? Where are the touchdowns? What's going on, Mike McCarthy? Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's talk facts. You know, it's kind of funny that everyone is starting to notice again that Mike McCarthy's offense is looking so vanilla. I mean, what is going on with this offense? Everyone's trying to figure it out. I mean, it's understandable, and it's not necessarily understandable, but okay, the defense is suffering bad, and they've improved over the last game and a half. We're going to see come Sunday night if this defense is really if it's really going in the right direction when they play the Pittsburgh Steelers. But the question is, what's going on with the offense? This offense was a top 5 offense last year. I mean, Dak Prescott was lighting up the league. I mean, putting up mad numbers, him and CD Lamb. What's going on this year? I mean, we're watching them line up, and it's like they're just lining up in trips on the left or trips on the right, and there's no movement, there's no motion, there's nothing. Well, Clarence Hill Jr., he asked Mike McCarthy about this, and this is Mike McCarthy's response. Let's check out Clarence Hill Jr. on X. We'll get his question, Mike McCarthy's answer, and then I'm going to show you something else that's going to blow your mind and show you why I say this is deja vu, and then I'll give my analysis to let you know what I think based on the facts. So without further ado, let's roll it.
Pre-snap motion and where you guys rank in that. Can you talk about why you're low in that category and that's an important part of your offense?
Yeah, I've seen the reports. You know, we got a great analytics department. You know, I think I've probably seen all the ones you saw and didn't throw out the ones that are good because, you know, that's part of the equation too. But, no, I think was really kind of part of what I was talking about earlier. You know, you got to look at the situationals, you know, particularly on offense, you know, because some of our formation, you know, I was talking to John Park about this yesterday, you know, some of our formation tendencies, you know, you got to factor in, I think we've been almost 3/4 of 2 minutes. So, you know, those are skewed a little bit. But yes, you know, as far as the motions, how much motion we want to do, you know, CD's utilization in motion. You also, I don't know, you know, one of the things the analytics also shows is just the, you know, the yardage that our receivers cover. You know, our guys are, you know, and that's probably a product of, you know, some of these 2 minute, you know, the extra 2 minute, you know, 2 minute offense that we've been in more than the norm for 4 games. So yeah, I've looked at all those things, clearly aware, you know, the windows and, you know, so I've seen the studies, but also I think our guys do a really good job of taking that data and then making sure all the filters are applied, so our information's accurate. And as Brian and Schottenheimer and I will continue to visit on it, you know, through today, and that's what tonight's for. And then as we start putting that plan together tomorrow, so those things have all been identified. But I think, just like anything, you know, which you do inside, the why is a big part of it. So yeah, we're clearly aware of our numbers in those areas.
And as an offense, do you have to guard against trying to overcompensate for your defense, or is that what you have to do?
No, I think it's you know, I think it's who you want to be, you know, and right now we're not playing to the complementary football that we played last year and really the last 2 years. I felt like the complementary football really came into the formula. We were starting to hit it in 22 and clearly was evident in 23. And one of the biggest statistics, and I made a point of it again today in a team meeting, is, our number of plays on the field for our defense from 22 to 23 went down. I think it was 9 plays, was it 50, 55? Or six plays a game. So that's a full game. So when you look at your overall stats in a year, if you're playing 6 plays less a game, that's a full game less for your defense on numbers. So that's where, you talk about third down. It's always a two-way street with me. When I see the defenses on the field, as long as they've been, I'm also very cognizant of what the production is on third down on the offense, because our time of possession, we're nowhere even close to where we were last year. That's a big negative for the first 4 games. Those are the things I spend time on, and clearly why are those numbers there, and that's what we're after, because not only do we want to score as many points as we can, but we do not mind going a long way, because there's a benefit to keeping our defense off the field. So much about time of possession is made on running the football. Time of possession is controlling the football, and you can do that in the passing game too. So that's where we're not. That's where after the first 4 weeks, our complementary football formula needs to be better. So that's what we're focused on.
Can somebody tell me what in the world was Mike McCarthy talking about? What was he talking about? He got a little defensive about the question because he knows that the question needs to be answered. And he kind of alluded to it, but he didn't say what was the reason. I mean, okay, you've been in more 2-minute offense longer than normal through the first 4 games. What does that have to do with him being at what you being asked about? The lack of pre-snap motion before the play. And we're not talking about Dak Prescott just telling the tight end to motion to the left or motion to the right. I mean, we're talking about, why are you not putting CD Lamb in motion more? Why are you not putting Brandon Cooks in motion? I mean, why are you not every single play having at least one of your wide receivers in motion? I looked at what the New York Giants did when the Dallas Cowboys played them, and I thought it was so genius. They knew that the Cowboys had a weakness on the one side of the field at cornerback. So what did they do? They would line neighbors up on the same side as Trayvon Diggs, and then before the snap, they put him in motion so they could try to get him matched up on their replacement cornerback. It's football 101. I mean, even I understand this. And so there's something going on with Mike McCarthy. And I'm wondering if this is Jerry Jones, because it seems like Jerry Jones was talking about running back by committee. And so it's like they're trying to run the ball. It's like they're trying to prove Jerry Jones right, that they can have a running back by committee offense, but it's not working. It's not working, Dallas. And Mike McCarthy, with that, I don't know, that Oshkosh Bigosh or all of that mumbo jumbo you talked about, you did not answer the question. But he did say, we have to look at the whys of why they're doing it. We have to look at the whys of why they are doing it. And so I'm going to show you the whys. And then I'm going to show you a report from last year to show you also why they may not be doing motion. So let's look at the whys. I kind of wrote some things down. So, Mike McCarthy whys. The whys. One of them is, I think it's the offensive line play. The offensive line play. The Cowboys' offensive line right now is not playing good. Guyton, he seems to be, he gets beat on these moves where they fake him to they'll fake him outside and they'll cut inside. They'll fake him outside and they'll cut inside. And Guyton, for whatever reason, his feet are just not quick enough at this point in time. His feet are not quick enough. And so once they get him, this is why he keeps getting these holding calls, because he finds himself trying to push them to the side, but by that time they have leverage on him. And so when he pushes them to the side, he has to wind up tackling them. So one, I think it's the line play. Two, well, you got bad line play. You don't have a top-tier running back. You don't, at this point, we don't even know if you got a mid-tier running back. The running game. You can't do any play action. That can't help you out. And so teams are basically saying, we already know you can't run, so we can play you pass all day long. Because even if you're going to run the ball, we can still stop you. You notice he talked about complementary football. Not really sure what that had to do with the team not using motion. But it sounds like, for whatever reason, I guess he's saying he's trying to keep them off the field, or I really don't know what he was talking about with the complementary football and how that plays into the answer. But I'll give you another issue. The Cowboys are having an identity crisis that they should not be having. Y'all got to make this make sense to me. I thought it was determined last year around Game 6 after the Chargers game. The Cowboys admitted they were a passing team. This is Dak's team. I don't care what anyone says. This is Dak's team. This is a passing team. And Dak, if you're going to sit here and go back to what you did last year, those first 6 games to where you were struggling, even though they were 4-2, they were struggling. If they don't make a change, Mike McCarthy, you're going to get changed out. You're going to get changed out because there's no way you're going to reach 12-5 if you keep this offense the way that it is right now. Get in that playbook, man. Utilize Lipke. Utilize Turpin. Utilize motion. Man, get some motion going. What is going on? But I gave you some whys based on what I've seen. But watch how these whys match up with a report that I found last year. So let's look at a report from last year by Dan Rogers, December 14th, 2023. And the question is, 3 reasons the Cowboys offense drastically improved since their bye week? Things have changed for the offense of the Dallas Cowboys over the last couple of months. Over the team's first 6 games, they sat with a 4-2 record while blowing out half of their opponents by at least 20 points. The team as a whole averaged a very respectable 25.7 points per game, ranking them 6th in the league in scoring. Yet something didn't seem right. The offense looked what? Very conservative, throwing a lot of short stuff. Let me make this a little bit bigger, just in case you can't read it. It says, and Dak Prescott only had 1 multiple passing touchdown game during those first 6 contests. We could all see that something didn't look right. But early on, the team was winning and winning big, so it was easy to not give it much thought. So let's go back to something Mike McCarthy said. They are not playing complementary football. Now, where we can figure this into the equation is that last year they were 4-2 because the defense was going bonkers with turnovers and sacks and all kinds of things. I mean, Dan Quinn had them at the ball, point of attack. I mean, even though they were a little bit undersized, I mean, Dan Quinn had that defense on fire. Well, we have Mike Zimmer. Mike Zimmer doesn't do all the blitzing. You know, he's not about these smaller players in position. Mike Zimmer, we're already seeing what he likes to do. Bend, don't break. Base defense. Not a lot of blitzing. Not a lot of exotic looks at this point in time. We're seeing this is where it's happening. So the defense, we know we're watching it develop in front of our eyes, but we're seeing something from the Cowboys. Deja vu. This is what Mike McCarthy was doing last year. And basically what he's saying, I guess if we kind of look at this article, what he's saying is that the defense was actually making up a lot of the slack, because not only were they getting turnovers, they were getting touchdowns, defensive touchdowns based on those turnovers. So it really gave them a lot of leeway to do some different things, but they don't have that luxury this year. So it says here that However, during the team's 4 games before the bye, the Cowboys only scored above 20 points once. They lost two of those games and narrowly escaped in a close game against the Chargers when Prescott improvised most of the game by using his mobility. It had become apparent that something was not right with this Cowboys offense. It's a replay. They blew out the Browns, got blew out by the Saints. They almost made a comeback on the Ravens, which would have been a barely win game. They had a barely win game against the New York Giants, should have scored more points. And so what we're watching is the defense. That's one of the whys we put. The defense isn't quite as good as they were complimentary-wise. But still, what does that have to do with the offense? You should really be trying to make changes sooner now because you know they can't score points. It says, but then things suddenly change, and they changed in a big way. If you remove all of the pick 6 touchdowns from Deron Bland, okay, a total of 5, Leighton Vander Esch's scooped up fumble for a touchdown, and Noah Igbanez's blocked field goal returning the opener. The offensive scoring looks like this. 6 games before the bye, 21 points per game. We're on the same trajectory. 7 games after the bye, 35 points per game. So that is considerably better. 2 full touchdowns better per game. How did this offense go from problematic to suddenly explosive? What has changed? Well, we have a few theories. Okay, I won't read this, but look at this. The offensive line is healthy. Did I not make that as one of my whys? Offensive line play. Complementary football. That's the defense. That's one of the whys. And it says, watch this. If you listen to the Star Seminar on Fridays, then you might be aware of the theory my podcast partner, Rob Lasor, has regarding Mike McCarthy and his early season strategy. In this world, McCarthy figured a conservative game script with one major objective: to preserve the health of one Dak Prescott. Without Dak, this team goes nowhere. McCarthy was playing the long game, and if it meant taking an L to keep this star quarterback upright, then so be it. So let's examine that theory again in light of what I said is the whys. Bad offensive line play. Bad offensive line play. No running game. No complimentary football. The defense is actually staying on the field longer than the offense. The line can't block. So we're watching all of this okay, Mike, say that. I know you don't want to throw your offensive line under the bus, but just say it. Hey, our offensive line is still developing, so we want to protect Dak Prescott. I believe that this is probably a part of what they're doing this year. I think Mike McCarthy is concerned that the offensive line will not hold up. And so what we're waiting on is for this offensive line to develop. Look at this. Watch what it says. The offensive line eventually what? The offensive line eventually got healthy, and with it, the offensive playbook opened up immensely. Say that, Mike McCarthy. Say that. But I think what he's trying to do, and especially based on the video I did about Dak Prescott, talking about the media's impact on the young players, them reading the stories and what's being said about them, I think he's trying to not only keep Dak Prescott standing upright, but I think he's trying to protect that offensive line. I think that's what he's doing. And so let's look at another issue. And then they said, look, motion makes it easy. Another smoking gun to the offensive newfound success is how they are using more motion to create better looks for Dak Prescott. There is a lot of pre-snap movement going on, and it provides a lot of information before the ball is being snapped. Of course, credit the cerebral Prescott for properly deciphering the looks and making smart decisions with the ball. They are holding Dak Prescott back. They're making Dak Prescott almost one-dimensional. There's no motion. You're taking away from Dak Prescott what he's good at. You give him motion, it makes the defense have to react. And so in when they react, Dak Prescott, a lot of people don't give him credit. He's very cerebral. Then based on what they do, Dak can already know where he's going with the ball within the first two reads. He knows, okay, I see, okay, single high safety. Okay, they're playing cover 2. Okay, they're going to bump and run. Okay, I see how the linebacker is moving. I got a mismatch on the tight end. I can put him in motion or whatever the case may be. Dak is seeing. It now lets Dak make so many pre-snap reads that he can get his own men open. He can know exactly who's going to be open. He can know exactly where he wants to go on 1 or 2 reads. So they are really limiting Dak Prescott when they are limiting their motion. But I think he's not saying it. But I think the offensive line, the lack of a running game to kind of, keep a defense honest. I think all of these things are designed because he's understanding, man, we just signed Dak Prescott to a $60 million deal. And what good does he do us on the sidelines if we're going to put him in harm's way? I think this is what he's saying, and that's why we got all of that word salad. We don't even know what he's talking about. And you think about it, it says here also, the Cowboys tried to work motion in early in the season, but the fallout of pre-snap penalties began to be so bad during the one game that McCarthy said, forget it. We've also seen a lot of penalties on the Cowboys. But guess what? You have a young offensive line, rookie center. So maybe some of these things would confuse them. Who knows? But this is a replay. If we pay attention, this is deja vu. This is deja vu. The offensive line wasn't healthy last year. This year, it's a rookie offensive line. It's a rookie offensive line. And we don't even want to talk about how Terrence Steele is getting taken to the woodshed here lately. I mean, Terrence Steele is getting taken to the woodshed. And so when you look at last year, they also talked about playmaker reveal. They're talking about CeeDee Lamb, and he was not happy. And we've already saw CeeDee Lamb have that blow up in the Baltimore Ravens game. And what did they do when they came out against the Giants? They got him the ball more. Now they got him up, I think, to 8 catches on. They got him 8 touches or somewhere in there. They had him in the backfield. I mean, they got him touches and targets, but I think this year they're going to have to take a different approach. They said before the bye, 7 targets, 5.6 catches, 79 yards. Since the bye, 13 targets, 8.9 catches, and 11 yards. And that's kind of what we saw on Thursday Night Football last Thursday. So I think that the Cowboys actually need to take a different approach this year. I think this year they actually need to get these other weapons on their team involved. Tom Brady alluded to it. I know I would love, right now they're talking about Devontae Adams, looks like they're only wanting like a 2nd-round pick for him. And Amari Cooper, the Cleveland Browns, converted most of his salary to a signing bonus. I think I saw it the other day. It's only $625,000. You could trade him, and that's all you would have to eat this season if you traded for him. I would love to have those 2 receivers. But in the meanwhile, Mike McCarthy, you're going to have to get more creative. You're going to have to figure out things with this offensive line, and you need to put some motion sooner than later, because I'm sorry, but the Detroit Lions are looking like literal lions. I'm not worried about the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Cowboys can get that win. But the Detroit Lions, they're looking pretty good. I think Zimmer's going to have a plan for him, though. But you're going to have to put some points up, because the Detroit Lions are going to put up a minimum of somewhere around 28 points. So you're going to have to be able to match them. They're pretty good on defense themselves. They're not the greatest, but they're pretty good. So you're going to have to put some things in place, get some motion. And if you're going to let CeeDee Lamb be the only man, you're going to get beat when it comes to these teams with winning records. The playoff teams, they're going to beat you. You're going to have to show some versatility. The motion can't be just to get CeeDee Lamb open. You need to implement motion to get Brandon Cooks involved. Tom Brady said it. Brandon Cooks is an absolute weapon for you. He's a monster. He's a speed guy. You got to do something. Get him, stop just giving him hitch routes. What are we doing? Get him down the field, deep crosses, post, get him down the field, go routes. Get something going. You got to get him. You got to get Jalen Tolbert. You got to scheme him open if you want him open. Get Jalen Tolbert. Get this Lipke kid. Get him involved. You got to do more. Get Turpin involved because your special teams has performed the best all season. But we saw what the New York Giants did last week. The New York Giants last week were determined to not let Kevontae Turpin be a major part of that game unless you were going to put him on offense. So you're going to have to do some things, Mike McCarthy, because I'm going to tell you right now. I don't really have any judgment at this point. Everyone's talking about they don't feel like you need to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys in 2025. And I know what's happening because people think the grass is greener on the other side. They're having visions of grandeur because they're seeing Bill Belichick is available. I'm going to reserve judgment. I think you need this full season for everyone to see what you're developing and what you're unfolding. But Mike McCarthy, if you don't make this change like you did last year, you don't have a contract going into next year. You will not be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys if you don't make this change sooner than later. But that's going to do it for me. That's going to be my time. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you'll know the next time where we talk Cowboys. Let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.